Turn basketball.
3 points, isn't it, or something?
It's close.
You don't need to watch basketball until the last 3 minutes of the game anymore.
That takes about half an hour.
All right, I'm ready.
Maybe ready.
Speaking of 3 points, I think the last couple of results in Tassie have been either way 3 points. Expecting another. What's your prediction for this weekend, tomorrow night?
Well, hopefully we continue our form. That doesn't give you a result, but we've been playing some good footy, and they found their footy again last week, and it's interesting because they've played. People have been talking about their form not being as strong, but they've played the best teams in the competition, and we know how tough that is. So they're in good nick, we're in good nick, so it should be a great contest. It'll be a really interesting one Friday night down there. We're expecting it to be quite slippery. Had a chat to the groundskeeper, and he's letting us know it's quite kind of dewy and kind of cold, so we're looking forward to the challenge.
Kind of cold. I think they're saying -2. What do you take to prepare for that?
It doesn't matter for me. I sit up in the box, so. We address that as a group. Like, we always talk about conditions and what it does and how it changed our game. But once we're there, we're there. It's going to be quite cold. Get used to it.
No Alistair Clarkson's shirt off for you?
Not for me, not the nick I'm in, no.
Does Draper spend another week in the SANFL, or does he travel to the side?
Yeah, Sid will play in the SANFL this weekend. We'll take a couple of emergencies over with us because the boys play on Saturday, so we have that advantage. But we want to lock him in there, let him set himself for a full game. Hopefully everything going well, and just keep working on his game as we've asked him to.
In a dream world, would you go in unchanged?
We'd like to, but we lose JP, obviously. But I think it's a good sign for a football side when you are able to go in unchanged. It's often off the back of strong results and guys playing their roles, and a group that's got great cohesion. So. We've been in that space a fair bit throughout this year. We were able to manage a couple of older guys through, a few moments. It was great. Obviously, Laddie came back and played a really strong game off the back of being managed. But, we'd love to play the same group as much as possible. But there's an understanding that over a season you do need a squad. And I think we've balanced that quite well this year, that we've been able to get a number of different guys through, and we're going to keep that in the back of our mind, knowing that we will be challenged at a point with some injuries that maybe we can't avoid. The game's a contact game, and we want to be ready for that.
He obviously plays with the hard edge, James, but have you had to say anything to him, given it's now been a couple of those incidents in 8 weeks?
We've had the conversation, and it's there's such a fine line because we ask our midfielders to tackle and tackle with aggression, not to hurt. I don't think there's ever an intent to hurt, but the split second stuff, when we slow the vision down, it's easy to look at it and say, oh, that's not on, but it's tougher in the moment. So there's a respect there for our guys, the challenge they have of, you're going hard for a ball or hard in a tackle, where's the line drawn? Unfortunately, we no arguments this week. We'll take the week, and he'll keep working on that line and not crossing it.
Who comes in for James then? He does play that very specific role.
Yeah, that's something we're still looking through at the moment. Actually, that's a blatant lie. We know who's playing. I'm just not going to tell you guys because we don't have to.
Got to ask things.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Given Hawthorn's small forwards, this has been ideal reintroduction for Bond.
It would be a great day for him, and a massive challenge for our group. They've sorted us out, especially last time we met here at AO. They put us to the sword. They're small forwards. They're a very dynamic group, and if they can get the game on their terms, nearly impossible to stop. So, we will look at that selection and what we bring in there very much, a little bit in and around what we do really well, what we think we need to bring against Hawthorn though, and the respect we need to have for their game.
What about Lockie Murphy? Will he travel? He's obviously spent a lot of time in the SANFL this year.
Yeah, Lockie will travel with us. We'll probably take 2 over with us. So he'll come across with us. And then again, we'll make that late decision on where we go as far as our last 22, 23.
Yeah, the experience of travelling to Sydney and getting a really good win there, your away form, do you feel like that's improved this year, and do you have now more anecdotal sort of evidence of what works for you on the road that you can take into Thrive?
Yeah, I think our overall game's improving, and so with that comes, a better performance on the road. There are things we looked at, but we haven't changed anything dramatic. We just continue to learn from areas we're not doing as well as we need to. If you get your overall game improved, you can make up for a few moments where you don't quite get it right. And often on the road, that's where you get your biggest challenge. Those moments, you don't have the crowd to back you up, to give you energy and support, and you've got to be able to do it yourselves. And so we have been better in that space, the moments. That'll be one of those if you look back on the history of our games against the Hawks. Hopefully it's a close game, unless we're in front, obviously.
You obviously ticking a lot of boxes this year. You ticked one last week in terms of that scout. I know that's external language rather than internal so much, but is the next challenge doing that on the road against a team like Hawthorn?
Yeah, I think I've mentioned it most weeks. It doesn't get any easier. We will continue to be challenged, but we'll have the toughest game we've had for the year as we go week to week, as it starts to build into the latter part of the season. There aren't too many harder than this one. When you're travelling to Tassie and their record down there, they've got an incredible record at the Oval. We actually really enjoy playing down in Lonnie. The boys love the ground. It's a beautiful ground. It's often windy. I'm not sure we're expecting too much wind, but as I mentioned before, it's one we enjoy playing at, but our opposition have a fantastic record there.
Are you surprised it's a night game scheduled down there?
Maybe it's an experiment on where the game can go, and is it possible to do it at this time of the year, or will we stay up in the coach's box at quarter time because it's too cold to go down? I don't know. I think it's great. I think it's great for footy. We're trying to grow the game nationally, and I assume that's what we're doing this Friday night.
When the reports came out the other night regarding Nazire and Taylor, did you get involved at all? Did you need to seek clarity from the Nazire camp?
No, other than putting support around the people I felt needed support. I didn't like the way it played out at all. I think it was unfair to a lot of people. But no, I didn't get any more involved than checking in with with Taylor, for example, just to make sure that he knows that I'm proud of what he's done since what was an unacceptable moment 4 years ago. That he's been, he's done a lot of work on educating himself, and he's actually probably done more than anyone at the footy club, but our whole footy club's improved off the back of that. So other than that, no, not involved.
How's Taylor? How is Dex?
He's fine.
Yeah. He's an experienced player, but how do you need to address whether it's a distraction or? No. I probably prefer not to talk further on it because I haven't really spent a lot of time in it other than sort of touching base with one or two people. It's not something I've got involved in. I've got other stuff that I need to concentrate on as the coach of the footy club.
I understand that, but given how it has resolved itself, apparently, do you still see that you guys are in the mix for Nazire as it sits?
Well, we don't talk about players from other footy clubs. That's been something that we've shown a lot of respect around over the years. It's just not a space we go into.
Just more broadly, I guess, than on contracts, Nixie, it does look like the conversation around contracts, especially on star players like Naz, is, I guess, heating up in the more recent seasons. I think that's fair to say. Do you think those conversations are for the better or for the worse, having them play out, I guess, in the public eye?
Yeah, good question. I think it's part of it. Part of our players sign up to be an elite athlete or an AFL footballer, and there's a lot that comes with that. There's a lot of pressure that comes with that. When you're an 18, 19-year-old or 22-year-old. It's part of the deal. Pressure to perform on field, but there's also pressures that come off field. As I mentioned before, some of it I'm not a fan of the way it plays out. There's a little bit of a lack of accountability there, but I think our players deal with it really well.